and welcome to Community Conversations. And today we'll be talking to the Angolan community here in Nottingham. And my name is Tatiana, and I live in Lenton, so that's my area. I'll be introducing you to the other people here on the call. We're all under 30, and we represent the Angolan or just the Portuguese-speaking community here in Nottingham. So start off with Idek. What town are you, or what area are you from here in Nottingham?
I'm from St. Anne's. Yeah.
And sorry, what's your name so everyone knows properly?
So my name is Edek Dabro. I'm
Yes.
20 years old and I'm from St. Anne's.
Thank you. And then we have Luana.
Hi, my name is Luana. I'm 20 years old and I live in Snelton, Nottingham.
Thank you. Margarita.
I am Margarita and I live in New Baseford,
Thank
Nottingham.
you. Thank you very much. Adim, if you can just introduce yourself, what area you're from here in Nottingham?
I'm Marijn and I live in St. Anne's, Nottingham.
Yes, thank you. So today we'll be discussing the impact of COVID-19 on the Angolan community, or just the Portuguese-speaking community here in Nottingham, which you all represent. We'll be speaking in English because I think it's easier for us whenever we do get together to speak in English. I'll be working in partnership with FMB Radio, who seek for authentic voices, FYA, Fearless Youth Association, and Majutu, who is an organization that looks after their communities, and also Nottingham Equal. So my first question to all of you is, what have you learned from COVID-19 last year? So we had a whole year to experience it. What has been one lesson that you've learned? We'll start off with Idek.
COVID-19 taught me that time can go really fast if you don't have anything to do besides work and education. You need to have like things that you can do at home, hobbies, because we were unexpectedly forced to stay at home, and if you didn't have any hobbies to do or like family or friends, then it could get really hard.
Thank you. Margarita.
I would say like being very patient, especially if you have children.
Yes.
And I would say just like be creative. Like you at home, sometimes you get bored, you ain't got nothing to do. You just have to be creative and use your imagination to do whatever you can to support your children, and obviously so you don't lose it yourself as well.
Yes, thank you. Adim or Marijn, what have you learned last year from COVID-19 and all?
Personally or
personally? Yeah, just you personally. What's some lessons?
To be honest, the way I look at it, it shows me that the way that we're running the world as a collective, as a human being, is it needs to change, because to me this is a consequences of how we as human beings conducting in this world. So for me, if this isn't a turning point for humankind in some sort of a way, then I don't think there is any.
Thank you. Luana?
Well, personally, kind of the lack of support that we can get or don't get, especially as a uni student, we're kind of left to the side. Oops, you kind of do things online, figure it out. So I feel like that was kind of a learning curve. You can't always rely on other people type of thing. You kind of just have to figure it out. And if you're left in the dark, somehow you have to get out of the dark and try and see.
Pick up yourself.
Yes. Was there anything that anyone said that really, that you thought, yeah, I can relate to that?
Yeah, I can relate to what Luana said. Even though I started uni this year, you can just tell, like, first of all, I'm first year, so this is already a new environment, and then we're also doing it online. And it's just weird because not everyone is built for online learning. Like some people actually have to go into lectures and they learn better that way. But now you're learning online And then a lot of people that I've met at uni have also said that they're learning things online, they're attending online lectures, but then they still have to like learn the subject again, learn what they just heard again, because they just can't concentrate.
Do it at home.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Oh, Margarita, did you have something
I
to
would say
say?
I can relate as well with Luana. The other guy's name, I don't know. I forgot his name. Yeah. So they're both of what they said is what I'm going through. And I say, like, as a human being, sometimes we take things for granted. Now that we don't have that, we're looking for other things to have. So now I sit down and think, oh, I used to take for granted, like just going outside or just like going to buy clothes. You can't do that no more.
Yes. Like, where are we going?
Yeah. It's just, it's a nightmare. It's just crazy. And university, don't get me started with university. I'm in my last year. And it's
so we have
harder.
3 uni students here. Okay, so in that case, like, do you feel like the online like learning is actually is it useful to you, or do you miss that, you know, human interaction with lecturers, with your fellow students? What is the better way, do you think?
For me personally, obviously I haven't had hard like the 2 ladies. Like my tutors and all of them, I had so much of a support that they've been brilliant. I haven't had any trouble with that. But for other university, I have heard that they've been struggling. They're just being left aside to do what they have to do, and it's a nightmare for them, obviously. But for me personally, I've been fine.
Okay, and you, Luana and Idek, for yourselves?
Well, for me personally, obviously I'm 3rd year last year. I want to finish this year, but I feel like online learning is not the one, especially if it's like a 9 a.m. You have to wake up and you're still half asleep. You don't really want to do it. You're in bed, the laptop's on the side, but you're not really listening. And then after you know you want to do your work, but you just don't end up doing because you can't be bothered because there's no one motivating you but yourself. And especially if you're like in your room, like I was in Leeds, I was in my room. So my mom's not here to motivate me. Obviously, my flatmates are in their own room trying to motivate themselves to do work. So you're kind of left in the dark. And then you don't want to do work, but then you have to finish your assignments. So it's kind of like so daunting. And then you just have mental breakdowns because you're just like, oh my days, this is so stressful. It's just online is just not the one. I know it's hard to go to uni, kind of going to the campus, but I'd rather go to the campus than put my laptop on the side of my bed and try to do work and produce the best work so I can actually get a good degree. So I think it's just not the one at all.
Idek, have you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, a lot. like when you go into lectures, if you know you have a lecture at 9 a.m., you're gonna you wake up at 7 a.m. so you can get ready, eat, shower, do everything. By the time it's 9 a.m., you're awake, you're ready to learn. If you got a 9 a.m. online, you could just wake up 5 minutes. You can wake up at 8:55. But you're not really prepared. You just still like, you know, and then you got your phone by your side. Who's gonna take your phone? Your tutor can't do it because he's not in your room, you're not in the same room.
So while you have been like going to uni, have you been doing it at home and also on campus in your like flats?
I do it at home.
I've had this whole year, I've had 2 on campus lectures. Okay. So I've only been in 2 times. That's it.
Have you found it better being at home with your parents or your families, or has it been better being at uni?
Being at home. Because your mom, obviously, so my mom's working at home. So she wakes up early to do her work, obviously. So she kind of tells me to do work, and she's not vigilant, but she's like insinuating, are you doing your work? Are you doing your work? But when I'm in Leeds, like I wake up, I look at the lecture and I think, I don't want to do it. So I just don't end up doing it. So it's better with my mom, I'll say, or at home, because she's telling me to do it, kind of, in a way, but it's my degree. So if I don't do it, I don't do it, type of thing.
Yeah. Is it the same for you, Edek?
Well, I haven't. Well, kind of. No, I think I do. I still do my work here, but it's just. I feel like if I was at home, because I've never done uni at home, I've always been here. But I think if I was at home, I would probably my work would probably be better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Margarita, so you've got children. So are you like homeschooling them as well, or what's going on? So you've got
Suddenly became a teacher.
so you become the teacher and you're also being taught at
To
university.
myself.
How is that going for you?
It's a crazy experience, but we do it. I just try to keep positive.
Yeah.
Because you have to. You can't look down when you got kids. You have to keep positive for them. If I like say, oh, I'm not going to do it today, they're going to be like, oh, we're not going to do it. And that's not the message that I want to send it to my children, for you not to give up. No, you get up. We're doing it. We're doing it all together. So, yeah.
Okay. And Marijn, so you don't go to university, but you work and you have, your own business. So how have you found it throughout this pandemic?
For my own business, it's been very hard, really hard, to be honest. I am active in photography and videography, mainly weddings. So there have been no jobs for almost a year now. So obviously that's been tough. In terms of just my regular job, I'm an essential worker, so that continued.
Yes.
But I also like obviously for students, I can imagine it's really hard. I'm not a student. And I also like to mention that in some ways, staying home is not necessarily always a bad thing in the sense where it's also a time for a lot of people to take it a bit slower, because life can go fast. And like I think Margarita was saying earlier, how people now we take things for granted and we don't really sometimes get the chance to sit down and actually deal with certain things that we meant to deal with, or just just realize certain things. Like a lot of people will feel a deeper appreciation once things go back to normal for what they maybe thought before was normal things or regular things.
Yeah.
So for me personally, it's like for me personally, I'm dealing with everything all right. The things I don't really like is certain restrictions, obviously. I mean, the fact that you can't see certain people, and I mean, I don't really like the idea of normalizing, certain rules and certain laws. But I mean, in terms of my business, it's two sides about it, because I'm also a musician, and to be honest, I've been getting a lot more streams online than ever before. But then when it comes to photography, it's obviously a downside. So it's two sides to it. But yeah, I mean, I'm dealing with it okay.
Yes. Thank you for saying that. I think, with our community, one of the things I miss from, life before COVID is that we were able to just meet up. So we have all these almoços. So for people who don't know what an almoço is, it's like a cookout. All the aunties, the cousins, the uncles all get together. We eat good food. So all of us growing up have always been going to people's houses and just eat lots of food, enjoy our time. And that's something that we can't do. Have any of you missed just being with other people and these uncles' house? Even when before you were like, oh, I don't want to go to auntie's house, but now you're like, actually, I would just love to eat that cake, because some
certainly
people just make them some nice food, or they're just so joyous, and the parties that we have. So have you missed being around our community on a weekend basis? We'll start off with Luana.
Oh, for sure. I feel like there came a point before COVID, I was like, oh my days, these parties are getting out of hand, because they'll be quite regular. You'll be like, can I just stay at home? And I kind of just got out of it. I was like, Mom, I'm staying at home. But now I even talked to my mom, because she used to go Derby a lot. So I'm just like, Mom, I really just want to go. I just want to eat the food. I just want to be around people, the dancing, the music, everything. It's just like you miss it. And it's kind of, it's been taken away. And now I appreciate it. But before I was like, okay, this is too much, because it'll be a regular thing. It won't be like every month or something. It'll be like every 2 weeks. One's like, there's a party. And you'll be like, okay, this is frustrating. But now I really want to go, because it's been taken away. And I'm just like, oh my days, it's not fair. So I feel like I definitely miss the kind of just being around and going to people, just being in a community type of thing. But yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Margarita.
I'll say I'll miss my family, my kids, their grandma, because we used to go to grandma's house every weekend, and now it's just grandma on the phone. And then they don't understand why they can't go there. They're just like, Grandma, are you coming to my house? And it just breaks my heart. And
Oh,
like,
bless them.
today. And it's just sad, because like you can't do much about it. Like you can't.
Yes, thank you. Idek.
Yeah, I miss all the parties and the little get-togethers that we used to do. I miss it all.
Oh, I can see in your eyes. You're like, I just miss it all.
Yeah, because when you can choose to not go, you don't mind, like. But when you like, now I don't have a choice, but I do want to go, because it's part of our culture. At the end of the day, even if you don't like it, sometimes it's still gonna have these get-togethers when I'm older and I have kids. I'm gonna force my kids to go to these.
Yeah, force them all to go. And Marijn, what about you? Do you miss all the almosos?
Yeah, definitely. Of course, obviously, I haven't seen you for a long time, for example.
I know.
I haven't been able to see my mom for over a year. So it's definitely, one of the biggest downsides to this whole thing, obviously. And I think for certain people that, I mean, it might not mean that for me, but certain people are really lonely, or older people, and they really rely on like their grandchildren or their children coming over. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I'm climbing a hill. I mean, I think if you're an older person and you really look forward to that weekly visit from your kids, or maybe you only have one kid and then that falls away, I think that can be a really big blow. And I think it's been a little bit too long now. Like I think people can deal with it for a few months maybe, but we're obviously coming up to more than a year. And I think the government needs to think as well. Obviously, yeah, COVID is a virus, a dangerous virus. It kills people. But I think that the level of depression will rise as well in these times. Like a lot of people like that are lonely and just need some company that are not able to get it. It's also that's also a serious problem. So, but yeah, I definitely miss the parties. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I've been seeing some people, and
don't put it online. Don't put it online.
no, they're in my bubble. They're in my bubble.
In your bubble. Yes, definitely.
People in my bubble. So
yes,
obviously I got. I'm lucky to have a good bubble. So
yes, and I think that's a great blessing having these bubbles, because like to deal with like loneliness and just depression, it's good to be engaged with other people. So with everything happening last year, Black Lives Matter, and just like people having a realization of all the systemic issues that we have, do you have a greater appreciation for your own culture? Because I feel like when we were growing up in this country, we may think, okay, I'm not really liking my culture, but now there seems to be more of an embrace of who we are and what we bring. And we've just spoken about missing just being together and, you know, listening to our food, listening to our music, to our food and all that stuff. And there's a great appreciation for what our community actually means. So do you feel a greater appreciation, so after now this pandemic, for our culture? We'll start off with Idek.
Yeah, I do.
In what ways?
I just found myself staying at home, listening to our music, kizomba, just anything I can do to get closer to our culture, or like get closer to having a little get together. Even if it's just me dancing in my room, I'll do it, or anything.
Thank you. Margarita.
I'll say, yeah, because even before, we didn't used to do as much, because like before, as when the culture used to be together, there used to be like activity for the kids in the forest. They used to book community centers for the children and for all of us to get together. And then that kind of got shorter and shorter. But now not to have it all or not to go at all is just, it is sad. But like Idette said, it's just putting the music on, cooking the food, and
Yes.
that would do for you.
Definitely. Luana, your thoughts?
For sure. I feel like obviously we're unstopped, clearly, but it's like, okay, like I've got my culture, so it's like not being afraid to show it. Especially like, obviously I'm in a household, I'm the only Black girl there, so it's not being afraid of cooking my food, for example, just cooking it and eating it. It might give you that stare like, oh, what is that? I've never seen that before. But it's just embracing who we are, kind of in our bubbles, in our house. Like me and my mum will put music on and we'll just dance and we will sing, and it's actually the little things that are really important, and it's just nice. Yeah.
Thank you. And Marijn?
Well, I've been able to spend a lot more time on creating music, which, yeah, it's obviously nice. Yeah, in terms of the whole, the Black Lives Matters movement and what happened last year, I feel like COVID has definitely overshadowed everything a little bit. It's obviously in the news 24/7. But I think, yeah, life still continues and things have still been happening. Certain injustices have still been happening as well. So I think once life starts coming back normally, the way it was before, yeah, there's things for us to pick up again, and continue to fight certain injustices. So personally, yeah, I don't know. Everything, to be honest, everything that I was doing before the pandemic, I'm doing exactly the same. So
yes, thank you. So as some of you may know, so today during our conversation, we'll be discussing some topics that are challenges that can be to any community, but we're just going to discuss them from like our community perspective. And then if you have any solutions to those questions, please do mention them, because after this conversation, we will be identifying the different issues that we spoke about and try to find solutions and work with Nottingham Equal to help our community. So if there's anything that you really want to raise, please do say. So COVID-19 has clearly caused a lot of issues on our personal life and also our communities. So what is your thought on the lack of space? So no access to youth clubs for our young people, shared spaces like restaurants and just cinemas or things like that, or just having a safe space at home, because some of us live in very small homes and we just don't have enough room to be creative or just be by ourselves or be with other people. So what are your thoughts on the lack of safe spaces that we have? So I'll start off with Luana.
I think it really has impacted us, I think, more than we've actually realized. I feel like, obviously, if you're in a house full of loads of people, your cousins, your brothers, your sisters, everyone's in one space, and you've got nowhere to go, it's kind of basically you're going insane. because there's nowhere you can run to, there's nowhere you can hide to, type of thing. Because before, we'll go out in shops, someone will go over there, they'll all go in their different ways, so you're kind of clustered together. Yeah. And I feel like, obviously, I don't know what goes on in other people's houses, but I feel like there are issues in everybody's houses that we just don't know, and the things that have been taken away has really kind of impacted people majorly. And I feel like youth clubs, like for kids, like for parents that are single parents that used to have their kids in like after school clubs, now that they're closed and they're working at the same time, they have to like juggle a lot, and it's kind of really has been difficult. And just, I feel like, I think there needs to be kind of a leeway to kind of open these things, because I feel like it will be a major help for a lot of people. Kind of just closing it and saying, well, just stay at home because corona cases are increasing. Yes. That's the best case, but it's not always the best case. I feel like you have to look at the broader picture, not just the we need to protect people, so just stay at home type of thing. So yeah.
Thank you. Margarita, thoughts?
That one's a tricky one. I don't really know. Like, I don't know, personally, I haven't had any struggle like space-wise, but I would say for like more like single moms that have to like, that got 4 or 3 children and just live flat. Just think of how that mom is struggling just day by day in a little flat, especially like, I don't know, London, where single parents live in a flat. Like here, I don't know, like, you know, it's just like, I think the government should like help all those families that really need the help, like just providing the space for it, not just saying like, okay, you got 1 hour to go outside and run with your kids. That 1 hour is not enough for that child to get that out of his system. It's not enough. I see it with my kids. I'll go for like ride the bike for an hour. It's not enough for an hour. He'll come home, they're more hyper than ever. You know, yes. Provide other things for like single parents or parents that have children to do. Like, I don't know.
Thank you. Idek?
To be honest, I didn't really struggle because I didn't really go out as much even before the pandemic hit. I like noticed that I did want to go out more after the pandemic hit, because you're just stuck at home, and at one point you're stuck at home with your whole family. And not that I don't like my family, but in it can get a bit stressful. So I think the government should have put like some type of, I think they just did something, it was easier said than done. Just like, obviously we do need to stay home because it was a dangerous thing, but they should have provided some type of anything that could just give people a break more than just exercise outside for 1 hour, because it doesn't really do anything, that 1 hour.
Thank you. And Marijn, thoughts on lack of safe spaces for like young people?
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, it's super noisy in my house. I'm gonna have to tell someone to be quiet.
We can't hear anything, so it's okay.
That's good. All right, that's good. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I think for young people, I think there's definitely a lack of outside activities. You know, I mean, I remember there was a time we was in a lockdown, and I mean, I've seen certain parks being like wrapped around with like yellow tape, like, and I'm thinking, it's, you know, I mean, where can children kind of unleash the energy that they have?
The energy, yeah.
And I think it's very important for every human being to get, you know, a good dose of fresh air on a daily basis. And I feel like this current lifestyle is forcing us to be inside too much. And the thing that I'm missing from governments is the message of a healthy lifestyle. We're talking about the virus, and I mean, we all have to wear masks and we all have to keep a social distance, but I don't hear any government talking about, you know, improve your lifestyle, eat healthy, make sure you get certain
That's being forgotten now.
vitamins in. I mean, right now it's winter, especially for Black people and colored people. This is a lack of vitamin D, which would result in a virus attacking your body quicker. So literally, why is there no one on television talking about look after your body, make sure you have the right nutritions, etc., etc., etc. And then I can guarantee you there will be less casualties and there'll be less people catching the virus, because end of the day, I don't understand how. I mean, a McDonald's can open up again, but
yeah, there are queues to McDonald's.
you can't go.
It's very busy.
Yeah, but you can't take your kids to certain outside activities. So for me, it's a myth how certain things don't add up for me. So yeah, I think, like, I mean, for the young people, but also for adult people, I think certain people in nursing homes probably haven't seen outside for a long time. And I just think that's shocking. I think fresh air is as important as drinking water to me. Like, it's just, you know. So
yeah. I also think, like, when it comes to like lack of safe space or even space at all, like the housing for a lot of people from our community is not the biggest of houses. So, you know, we live in small homes. And also youth clubs, for example, have been a form of childcare, because a lot of our uncles and aunties are working crazy hours, you know, day and night. So where are they supposed to leave their kids? So, and with all this restriction on how many households you can join up with, it can be a challenge. So where do our young people go if their parents are working 3-4 jobs? And that's also affecting like our mental health and well-being. And I think mental health is not something that we really speak much about our community within our community. But Luana touched on mental health earlier. What do you think? How can we start the conversation of mental health in our communities, especially now during COVID, when a lot of people are struggling with their well-being?
I think it starts at home. It's kind of talking to your parents. It's daunting to that. As it seems, it's daunting. Like, why am I going to tell my mum that? Or why am I going to tell my dad that? But I think it's kind of having that conversation with your parents and family that's around you, because it's just an open thing. We don't do that in our community. It's kind of like, you'll be fine, just sleep it off. You're all good at the end of the day.
To do that.
So it's just like, you'll be fine. That auntie will tell you, you're over exaggerating, like, you'll be fine, just sleep it off.
You'll be fine.
So I feel like it starts out in our homes first. And obviously some people might not have their parents around them. So it's kind of that one friend that you can just message or call and say, listen, I'm not all right, type of thing. And it's daunting, but I feel like once it's out, and it kind of will relieve what you're feeling. So yeah, mental health is...
Parents should be more aware for what happens to your child or what your child is going through, especially our community. Like, our parents would say, no, you're okay. Why are you acting like this? Why are you going to the doctors? But then when you take them to the doctors, they're like, oh, is that what it is?
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, I've been telling you for time, you don't listen to me. So it's just like, they need more like teaching into it, why we are like, and especially now, I suffer from anxiety. My anxiety is over the roof. And then when my parents found out that I actually had anxiety, they was like, oh, you've been suffering. It was just, but to them, therefore I was faking it, that I've been struggling all of these years by myself and never told anybody. But when it gets to a point that you can't handle it by yourself, you need your family around you to support you.
So was it only when you went to the doctors that your family actually believed that is the case, because I think because we can't even have the conversation of mental health or we're not believed, it's like, how do we convince our community that we're actually struggling?
If you have to take them with you, take them with you. That's what I did. I took them with me, and when they saw the tablets that they were giving me, they was like, she's actually ill. It was funny. I'm laughing now, but at the time it wasn't funny.
Yes. Oh, so what would you say to someone that is listening today that is suffering from anxiety or depression, and their families are just saying, oh, we're just going to pray it away, or you're going to be okay, you're a strong person because we survived the war, you can survive this. So what would you say to them?
I would just say, if they are gonna like pick up themselves and like do something about it, because it actually comes up to you. It's up to you to do what you have to do to make yourself feel better. So I picked up myself, and I got my parents involved, because if you do not support me right now, when are you going to support me? So I booked the appointment, and they came with me, and now they are aware that I do suffer from anxiety, in which it helps the process of healing, because like you can't do the healing on your own, because you constantly doubting yourself. You constantly have that little voice at the back of your ear going, no, you're not good, no, you're not doing this right. So it's always nice to hear like somebody else, like your parents, you can do it. It's always nice to have that support.
Thank you. Marijn, mental health in our community, how should we deal with it?
I think that it first is a big responsibility for our generation, the younger generation, to not be scared to be honest, to speak up to our elders. Our elders, they're very stubborn and stuck in their ways, and they think they know it all, to be honest, but they don't. And it's the same way that we will have to deal with our children that way. We'll have to listen to our kids and take them serious. There's going to be things that we don't understand later on, let's say 20, 30 years down the line, that certain kids will be going through. So I think, yeah, we have the responsibility to be brave and to not accept if you're not feeling all right. And let's say your elders say, just suck it up, or just deal with it, or in Africa, don't we do? Yeah, okay, cool. But
we're here now.
Yeah, we're here now, and things are different. And I think life in the Western world is a very demanding life, especially living in the city. It's a concrete jungle. It's fast. It's, especially once you start paying your own bills, it's stressful. It doesn't stop. It's constantly moving and moving and moving. And it takes a lot of mental energy from you. So I mean, like what we're doing right now is talking to each other, and that needs to take place like a lot more. Don't be too proud to say that you're not feeling okay. You don't have to put up a face or a mask, and if you have certain people around you that you trust, that you can trust, talk to them. Just be open, be honest, and if you are really not feeling okay, and someone else tells you to suck it up, don't listen. They're not living in your body. So end of the day, you're the only one that can judge how you're feeling. If you're not feeling well, it means something needs to happen. So I think, just be brave is what our generation needs to do. We need to start following what happened before. Obviously, it's good to look at the past and to see how our forefathers and stuff. It's also to create change for better for our own generation. So yeah.
Thank you. Idek.
I agree with everything everyone said, and I also feel like we always talk about the younger people, but I feel like a lot of the elder people in the Angolan community, or any community actually, they also face mental struggles with their mental health. Like
that part.
Uncles, aunties, because they're not living where they were born. They're living in a whole different country. And if you talk to a lot of them, they're always saying, "Yeah, I want to go back to Angola. I miss my family." Some of them haven't seen their family in over 5 years. Some of them might be suffering from depression, but because they don't talk about it, the kids aren't going to talk about it, and then it's a cycle that keeps on going on and on and on. And then if I don't talk about it, and then when I have kids, my kids aren't going to talk about it either. And it needs to be talked about now, because it's more serious than people think.
Yeah, thank you. You touched on a really important point, because I think for our community, especially, like our parents have definitely been born into the era of colonial times in Angola, or in other places that were colonized by the Portuguese, and then also gone through a civil war. And I think a lot of them have a lot of trauma that they don't discuss. They just, have left the country and then trying to build up their lives. So they haven't dealt with their issues. So they're not equipped to deal with our issues. So like Mariam was saying, we just have to be brave and speak up, and also seek for help, like Margarita said. So my next question is about challenging family relationships. And for me, like, I feel like a lot of Angolan families are like a novella. There's always drama, drama, drama. And being in a confined space with family, or just being apart because we have to be separated, how can we deal as a community with our challenging family relationships and being locked in with them? So let's say if there was a household where there is a lot of drama, but there's breakdown in the family, how can we deal with it? So I'll start that question off with Margarita.
I don't know. I'll say with me, I mean, definitely a lot of drama. Even though we separated, there's still drama happening. So what I do, the best for me, I've removed myself out of the drama. There's no other ways I can think of.
Yes, and so in your case, you have your own home and your family. But what would you say to people who are living within that family structure in the same household? What would you recommend them do?
That is hard. I don't know. They just have, I don't know, embrace it. I don't know. Don't kill each other.
Embrace the novella.
Kill each other, because that's all I can say.
Luana.
I don't know.
I don't know. This is not really
exactly so
drama.
Yes.
I don't really live in a drama house type of thing, but the days that I'm like, I don't know, we get at it. I feel like sometimes just stepping away, it's like cooling off type of thing.
Yes.
And not always at each other, because we're in a space together. I can't just go back to Liège just quickly get in and come home. I have to kind of live with it, but stepping away. Okay, but some people might live in legit boxes, so there's not really much, but kind of just having that time for yourself and stepping away from the situation before it really escalates type of thing. But it's actually it's the stepping away, breathing, and then reflect, and then coming back together. I think that's what I would advise people to do, and just not bicker back and forth, because you're living in a space together. So if you're all annoyed at each other, you're not going to want to live in that house. And it's not like you can just run away to another house, because technically you're not supposed to do that. So I feel like it's stepping away, breathing, thinking about the situation, and then try to talk it out. I don't know. Yeah, that's my advice.
Thank you. Idek, what are your thoughts?
Can you repeat the question again?
So I was saying that Angolan families are like a running novella, lots of drama. So how do you recommend people to deal with their challenging family relationships?
Well, I would say the best thing to do is just like me and my mom, Diana, we used to not argue, but just go against each other sometimes. Yeah, and I've realized that once I moved out and went to uni, And then when I go back now, it's just different. Like we don't argue and I don't talk back, or mama's more understanding, like certain things. And I think the best thing to do is just take a step back. Even like my brother in Holland, he, like once he moved out of home, he said that his relationship with his dad improved as well. So I don't know, especially with these Angolan parents that they don't want to argue with you. They don't even.
They just beat you.
Yeah, my age. So once you move out, they just, I don't know why it works like that. The drama stops.
It's because you're paying your own bills. That's what's happening. You just got that extra responsibility. Okay, Marijn, what would you recommend people to do if they have challenging family relationships?
Well, I think it's a generational thing. I think obviously a lot of us have been born into broken up families straight away. So a father in a different house and a mother living with your mom. Most of the time we will live with our moms and the father isn't present. So I think it's a generational thing. And I think we need to look at those situations and not fall into the same habits, but we need to learn from it. And we need to realize that, I mean, like, look at your own situation. You have a whole family, you know, your children are growing up with a father and a mother in the house present. So obviously they're getting the right example now, but you had to break a certain spell. You had to realize, like, you know, you've been through enough things and you realize, okay, this is not the ideal way for any child to grow up. So you obviously made the decision, that's not what I want for my children. So you're giving your kids a complete family, like a complete home. And I think that's where it stops. Like that's you know what I mean, once you get the, like, why is it such a prominent problem in the Black community in general? Because Black community have so many broken homes. And you don't see that as much in other communities. You don't see that as much in the Indian communities, for example, or white communities as such. So it's obviously something that we need to take up on ourselves. And I mean, there's many things I can say about my own father, for example. But at the end of the day, I just need to look at certain things that he's done and realize, okay, that's not how I want to live my life. There's either that or there is, okay, because my dad did this, and that, I'm going to do exactly the same thing now and become him. But I think, you know, that's why it's important for everyone to learn to understand themselves and to get to know themselves properly, so that you can make your own decisions and not fall into the same habits as God bless them, our parents have made, you know. So I think it's a generational thing. It can change like that. I mean, it starts at every individual home, I think. I mean, obviously a family is a whole, but every family has different households, and if every household is focused on creating a good home, I think the link up between those different households is going to be better as well, you know. So yeah, that's what it is.
I think you took this conversation to a whole other level, because I truly felt that when you said about a lot of us have in our community have grown up into broken homes. And like when you look around, you know, I grew up with a single mom, and a lot of us have. And sometimes you have, you know, those tios and tias who are still together, like Margarita's parents. And I think it's such a beautiful thing to still see that Black love, or even love in our community that is withstands with time. And not saying that like every relationship is perfect, but just to have that example is so important. And with COVID, like I think the challenges of already having a co-parenting situation can get even worse sometimes. So some children are not seeing their other parent, or you know, there may be some challenging relationships with the parents themselves. So children don't have that contact. But you're right to say that it's our responsibility as the next generation to break that chain, because sometimes it can feel like, you know, generational curse. And I don't think anyone chooses to have a broken home, but these things happen. But we just have to try and do everything we can.
I think it's important to focus on your own family as much, because if you generate a loving and happy home for your children will be more likely to be open and to feel safe, to share things with you. For example, if you live in a home and you feel like you can't share certain things with your parents, you're gonna look for it elsewhere naturally, and that can also result in a young woman or a young man ending up with someone that they're not meant to be ending up with, and that can result into a rushed creation of a family, which then also breaks up. So I think it all starts in the home. Like, obviously it's a responsibility for us young people to break certain curses, but as parents, you have to create a home in which your child feels safe to develop him or herself into the woman or man that he or she wants to be in the time. Like, it can't be a rushed thing, because like I said, if you don't feel certain love at home, you're gonna look for it elsewhere, and then boom, that's how these quick relationships that end up sometimes in another family, broken family, happen as well. So yeah, I think love, make sure there's love in your home.
Yes, yeah, it's a very important point, and which leads me good to my next question. So I think earlier we were just saying that sometimes people don't have or have a lack of trusted relationships or someone or people that they can turn to for advice. So for our people in our community who feel like they can't speak to their parents, like what would you recommend them to do? To speak to someone who's got, their head screwed on and can give them solid advice that won't lead them to youth gang violence and things like that. Where should they turn to? I'll start off with you, Deck.
I think you could turn to youth groups or church. Or, even though church is closed right now, there's still online churches. Churches do Instagram pages, Facebook pages, or even just YouTube, just anything. Or you could, in our community, there's usually uncles or aunties like nearby, or even like cousins that may be a bit older than you, or even cousins your age. You could talk to them. Yeah, I think there's a lot of options if your parents can't be there for you.
Thank you. Luana, your thoughts?
Try and find good role models kind of in your life. I feel like it's easier to say, well, go to your nearest church and seek help and stuff like that, but I feel like that someone older than you, for like kids, for example, like an older kind of someone that might have been in the same situation as you, but for like gang violence and stuff like that, they might have left that environment, and they will be able to guide you kind of in the right path. I feel like that's very important, kind of an older role model. And sometimes it's legit going on Instagram because you've got nowhere else to go type of thing, and kind of seeking support groups and stuff like that. I feel like that's important. Yeah.
Thank you. Margarita?
I would say, like, within our community, there's always going to be that one auntie, that one uncle that already been there, done that, and they're good enough to give you a wiser advice to what to do or what path to take. That's what I'll do.
Thank you. And then Marijn?
Well, I think everyone that's speaking here right now has got their fair share of sharing wisdom and knowledge. So I think, make yourself presentable, make yourself available for the younger people in your family right now. I think obviously a great part goes into also sometimes you might not have your parents, or there might not be anyone around, but it's also important to learn to sometimes deal with your thoughts yourself, and don't be scared to sometimes dive into it. We tend to want to escape too much nowadays. Netflix, Instagram, and all the quick entertainment that's available to us. But don't forget, there's also work for us to do as individuals, and sometimes, yeah, we got to take on certain things hands-on, and it's not always going to be pleasant. But yeah, I mean, I think you if you walk around with a good aura and you walk around willing to spread love, I think that's what you will attract as well. So, you know, be a good friend to others, and hopefully they'll be a good friend to you, kind of, you know. So spread love, and they will come back to you. So it might not be your parents, and it's someone else, you know. Just speak that language, and yeah, the answer is, most of the time, the answer is also love. So yeah.
Thank you. So you and Luana both touched on social media, and because of, you know, COVID-19, a lot of us are home. We have increased our hours on Instagram or, you know, social media. But I've also found that, like, I don't use TikTok or anything, but I think a lot of young people are on TikTok, and it can put pressure on young girls to do certain things that I think are way too grown. And what are your thoughts on the online pressures that people can have when they're seeking the wrong role models on social media? So start off with Luana.
So I use TikTok quite a bit. So I'll just be scrolling and scrolling. And then you kind of see these people, and then you're just like, you start comparing yourself, and you're thinking, wow, like, I'm not there yet, and I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And you're kind of just there comparing yourself. And then obviously the way that social media is kind of generated, it's kind of algorithm. So what you watch, it'll kind of start becoming apparent, and you'll be scrolling through basically the same thing. So I feel like you end up kind of comparing yourself without realizing, and especially these challenges, for example, the Busset challenge. You're just like, for like young girls, you think, oh, maybe I should do that and see what happens. Kind of these other girls are kind of getting the attention that I'm not getting, so you're kind of, well, maybe I should do it. And then obviously young girls do it, and they get attention from it. So I feel like social media is a little bit toxic, starting becoming a bit, you know, what are they doing? On my days, they're doing this and I'm not doing that. And you're all in the same situation, but you're seeing what other people are doing and think, maybe I should start posting. I don't post a lot, so you'll be thinking, maybe I'll just post every week and see what happens. Or I need to get an attention from so-and-so, so let me post. So you're kind of feeding yourself into the social media world. And then you've lost yourself. Before you know it, you've lost yourself. You're scrolling, you're posting, and then, yeah. It kind of just becomes life. But I feel like you kind of need to break that cycle. You need to have self-discipline type of thing. So, like, not going on TikTok at night or Instagram and you're just scrolling. You kind of need to switch off or log off. That's what I do before I go to sleep. I log off social media, so I'm not scrolling through it. So obviously, I have time for myself. I have time to, like, pray and stuff like that. So it's like, you're either of the world, or you're part of the world, or are you of it. So I'm like, I don't want to be a part of what everybody's doing. I want to be myself. So it's kind of taking yourself out of it and kind of focusing on yourself, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of people, and you're just gonna compare yourself and think, well, I'm not there in life, I need to be there. But yeah.
Edek, thank you for sharing that, by the way.
You basically touched on everything that I was thinking. Me and her have had this conversation before, because social media, especially for young kids, not young kids, but young people like us, we stay on our phones a lot. And like, if it's not TikTok, it's Snapchat. You just want the validation. Or like, now even got like this thing on Snapchat where there's private stories, and like, even being put on someone's private story, that even that thing can be validation that can make you feel good or anything. So I think we need to just like put less importance on social media and on other things.
Thank you. Margarida, your thoughts?
So in today's life, it is hard not
Mm.
to evolve with social media. Even our little kids are doing it now. And it's so dangerous. Like my 8-year-old with his TikTok, and me, I'm obsessed with TikTok. And then they're all like, why don't you do the challenge then? I like to watch. I'm not doing them.
Yeah.
I'm one of those. I just watch. I don't post. But yeah, that's our daily life now. What like parents can do to avoid that. Some like now with this COVID, how can you decrease the hours of social media or internet or PlayStation? How can you do that? You
Yeah,
do
it's a very big, it's a very hard one.
it's a hard one.
Yeah.
Especially like I got 2 little boys. They're like their Fortnite business. You tell little boys to get out of Fortnite because they have to eat their dinner war in this house.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't know. It's a tricky one for me to judge right now.
No, but thank you for that honest answer, because I think it's easy to say, oh, just turn everything off. But, you know, if you have things to do, like I work from home, so I need something to, you know, entertain my kids if I'm working at home by myself and I have no support. So I'm just doing 2 things, working on the laptop and then watching a show. So yeah, I completely can understand. And Marianne, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Luana hit on the nail, because I mean I think there's too much emphasis on like immediate gratification. You know, like you post a picture and you know you just if you don't see a certain amount of likes in a certain amount of time, it starts to eat away. But I mean, I understand. Like we all use social media technology because it's there, and I think one of the obviously possibly problematic things is that obviously these big companies they know what they're doing. You know, Luana mentioned algorithms, I think, and you know they like mean what you look for you'll find on the internet. It's that simple. So it's literally thrown in your face as soon as you open your phone. So it's designed to get you. I mean, the more minutes they get from you, the better it is for them. So obviously, the responsibility once again lays with ourselves. I think obviously you need to kind of feel what it does for yourself. So if you feel that you know you're giving in a lot of time to social media and it kind of means you're not doing certain things that you want to do, I think it's time to like ring the alarm bell and say, well, is this what I want to do with my life? If you're spending 6-7 hours on social media but you was meant to do your uni work or whatever, then you know it's obviously time to say that, okay, you know what, something's got to change. And in terms of kids, I mean, I suppose, you know, everyone says it's really hard, and it is hard, and it's okay to use technology. But I mean, personally, me, I didn't grow up with all of that stuff. So, like, and I had a really nice time. So, you know, I think sometimes if it's not there, you won't really miss it, kind of thing. So, like, for example, like I don't have any television contracts or anything like that. I don't have TV in my room, you know. So if it's not there, are you really gonna miss it? It's the same when you really craving that chocolate bar, but it's not in the house and the shops are closed. You get over it. Like it's okay. Like you're not going to die because you didn't have that chocolate bar. And most of the time, if you do have that chocolate bar, you don't really necessarily feel any better anyway. You kind of stop feeling the guilt. So I think if you feel it's problematic for you, make sure it's not in reach sometimes. Just if you feel like I'm watching Netflix too many times, pull your TV. If that's what you need to do it. But what's the same thing Luana mentioned, discipline, and that's what it all comes down to. That's literally what it all comes down to, discipline. Without it, you're not going to achieve much in life. So, if you're okay with watching Netflix and being on social media the entire day, if your lifestyle can afford that, go for it. But does it really give you real satisfaction? I don't think so.
Yeah, thank you. So my next question is about harmful practices and social pressures. So this was something that was already affecting the youth before COVID-19, but now with COVID-19, what do you think are the impacts of youth and gang violence, substance misuse, sexual exploitation, grooming, and county lines exploitation? So like all of these bad things that are happening do impact our youth, and some of our youth are attracted to that. How has COVID made it a bit worse in your thoughts? We'll start off with Luana.
I feel like just the social pressures of everything. I think it all goes back to social media, is what you see or what the kids find. Oh, that's cool. So let me try it. It's kind of like, oh, my friends, I don't know, doing balloons. So let me try it. So it's kind of that, why not? What's the harm in it? And we don't have that thing in ourselves, or we see it might affect someone, but you think, nah, it's gonna be fine, let me just do it. And then when it affects you, you're like, ooh. So you're kind of taken back. So I feel like it all comes down to what you see and kind of what you take on, because you choose what you see and you choose what to do. You think, well, my life, I'm gonna do what I want, and we don't really think about the end consequences of it. Or let me just join that group because they hype me up. So you kind of just join whatever. But then in the long run, there's consequences along the line. So I feel like the youth, everyone just needs to be careful of kind of what they're doing. Why not do it? Just think twice about doing something. Is it going to really benefit you? Are you harming people in the way? So I feel like it's actually taking a step back and thinking, should I or should I not? Most likely you should not. So,
yeah. Yes, definitely. That's a good reflection for people to ask themselves before they go into anything like that. What about you, Marijn? What are your thoughts on these harmful practices and social pressure?
I mean, I don't know to what extent COVID has made things worse or less worse. I'm not too sure about it, but I think in this, not the way that society is shaped, this kind of thing is inevitable. The lower class of the society is going to look for ways to get certain things that the higher class of the society has, and unfortunately most of the time that goes alongside illegal practices. So and as a younger, if let's say your uncles, they're in jail, your dad and this and that, and you grow up on the streets and like that pressure of wanting to look a certain way, like Luana said, you want to be cool as a youth and designer clothes, but if your parents are first generation in England or whatever, they ain't gonna buy you that Gucci belt, they ain't gonna buy you the Gucci the head, you know what I mean? So but that pressure is there, and obviously I've seen it a lot growing up in Holland. I lost a few friends to that lifestyle, and it's inevitable in the way that the society is shaped, unfortunately. Especially in the big cities, this problem is going to be a reoccurring problem. But I think what the youth, like people that have the youth clubs and the communities, I think what they're doing is great. Yeah, I mean, if you have a genuine idea about this and you're passionate about changing these things, yeah, get involved, try and I don't know, try to get into politics or whatever. I don't know, like just like I said, it's a product of the way that society is, you know. So, and unfortunately, a lot of our community, the Black community, we are at the bottom of the social ladder, so we are more likely to fall into these traps. Yeah, so I mean, role models is important. I mean, a lot of our favorite musicians, they do promote material, designer clothes, and having a lot of women around you that you can obtain by having a lot of money. So obviously, that's also something like, if you know, role models. We most of the time we have the wrong role models. So we get those ideas from somewhere, obviously.
Definitely. Edek, your thoughts?
I don't know if COVID-19 has made these harmful practices worse, or maybe something like substance abuse. Maybe if people are staying home, or like I said at the beginning, like some people don't have any hobbies, anything to do besides you're staying at home, you're just working, maybe taking care of your kids, just doing the same thing over and over again. So maybe you go to drinking alcohol, or you go to making money online. There's websites where you can like sell pictures of yourself to make money. I don't know if COVID-19 has made it worse, but I think it's made it worse just a little bit. But yeah, I don't really know.
No, I think you're touching on a good point, because I think for people who haven't got hobbies or things that they would have done normally at home, they may turn to other things, or sell themselves online to have make some extra money, because everyone is trying to create different multiple streams of income. But how we do that, is it going to be sustainable to post pictures of yourself for the rest of your life? I don't think so. But that's something that people are doing, but I don't think it's a sustainable or a healthy thing to do. Margarita, your thoughts?
I would say more like teenagers, in the killing, all of that gang thingy. I think it's gotten worse now, because now they definitely don't have nothing better to do. So, and I think the police as well don't have nothing better to do than be chasing little children, the killing, stabbing each other, because they're too busy going from house to house seeing who's breaking the law. Fines. So I think everything's just going downhill. I think the police are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and teenagers just running wild, doing whatever they want to do. And it also goes down again to your parents, to how you're being raised.
Thank you for sharing that. So the last challenge I just wanted to discuss was the access to digital and IT resources and services like Wi-Fi or just laptops and things like that. So I think it would affect more people who necessarily don't have like laptops to work from home or to study from home, like school children. So do you think that is an issue because of COVID-19? Because now we're all having to study at home. Do you think that we should have some extra support with Wi-Fi or just extra like laptops in our homes? Margarita, I'll start off with you, because you've got kids who are school age.
I would say school should support more parents. That I myself, I'm privileged. I got all these things. I got the laptops. I got all of that. But there are parents that don't have the laptop, that don't have the phone technology that needs to go into to do the kids' work. And why should they be stressing to get the kids' work done when school should be providing all of this? I think that should be one problem that should be tackled then. I don't think school are supporting parents enough when it comes to this homework and doing the work at home.
Thank you. And my question to Edek and Luana, because both of you are uni students and you're also actually on campus, what do you think of the support you have and access to the IT services? And do you think it's helpful, any of these classes that you're taking, or would you need something extra?
Okay.
Start off with Luana.
I feel like they're trying their best.
Mm.
I can see they're trying their best, but I feel like there's only so much they can do. Okay. Like you can email your tutors day in, day out, and they can try to get the resources. But I feel like, for example, like books and stuff, I was trying to do my dissertation and you need a lot of books for it. And I was trying to find this book and I couldn't find it on the library tab for my university. So it's like, what do I do now? I know there's like free resources out there. I just didn't want to search. I'm not going to lie. I didn't want to search for the book. I'll just find an alternative. But I feel like the support is kind of just bare minimum. And of course, they can only do as much. But I feel like from the government, I feel like we need to be supported as well because we're paying money. It's not cheap.
Yeah.
And it's just like there needs to be a bit of more leeway for us. Especially for like housings and stuff. Like I'm paying for my accommodation and I'm not even there, but they're not supporting us. We still have to pay. They're not even discounting. They're just saying, well, you've signed an agreement, so you have to pay. So there's not support in that sense. Because obviously some people might have their parents paying for their accommodation, and that's money that they could be saving for something else. So I feel like we should not be just put to the side. Oh yeah, the students. Oh, we forgot about them. Or we have to sign petitions and do all this commotion just to get their attention. I feel like everybody's a priority, and I feel like it's kind of the duty of the government to kind of prioritize each subgroup because it's not just all the elderly are important. Let's just focus on them. Forget about the rest. We might think about them in a bit, but let's just focus on this group. And I understand it's a big job, but I feel like you need to think of the other subgroups. And I was also gonna say for like parents that might be like teaching at home, like especially in the Angolan community, they might not be able to speak English.
That's a struggle.
So how are they going to be teaching their kids English if they don't know the language? So I feel like they need support in that. And there are parents like my auntie. She has 3 kids, and obviously her husband's at work and she's by herself. But these kids are all 3 different age groups. So how is she going to teach all 3 of them? She's one person. So I feel like there needs to be support for the parents as well. So it's the duty of these subgroups we need to focus on. So it's not just this group, let's just focus on this one. Let's forget about that one. Oh yeah, let's go back to these guys because they kind of need our help. So I feel like there needs to be more concentration on different subgroups and giving out support needed, and obviously following the COVID restrictions.
Yes, of course, always. Edek.
I feel like my university, they've been helpful. This laptop it's not even my laptop. I got this from uni because I didn't have one. And
that's nice.
They give you, and they give you extensions if you like need it, and then they're more easier on giving it to you. And the only thing maybe I have a problem with is accommodation as well. Like they have given discounts since 2 weeks ago, I think. Like for people that aren't living here, like people that are still back home for lockdown, they only have to pay half the rent. But then the people that are here, I still think they should get a bit of discount, or at least not pay the full amount, because it's just not the same.
I hear you.
I feel like they have helped us. Like they're doing their best.
Thank you. And Marijn, because you have your own business and you're also doing music, when it comes to like Wi-Fi or just mobile data, with the increase of people being at home and using more internet, do you think the UK as a country should improve the bandwidth that they're able to provide every single person? Because like when lots of people are using Wi-Fi at the same time, it can be slow. You have like, it's always roaming. So they want everyone to go online, but sometimes the services are not even working properly?
I don't know if they can, then it definitely should. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if they can do that. That'd be great. Quick internet. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, like obviously it's obviously an unexpected change in this. Nobody in this coming. So I suppose if everyone uses more internet at the same time, and it's it's not too much you could probably do about that, like just like that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what to say to that, to be honest.
No worries. So my next question and I'll start off with you, Marijn. What do you think that should be done that's not being done right now to address all the issues that we've discussed today?
Or that we discussed today. Well, as I was saying earlier, I think our focus on the way that we're handling this whole pandemic and situation is completely misdirected. Like I said, there should be way more emphasis on how we can actually avoid of getting ill in the first place, how we can live a healthier lifestyle, and that's, to me, it's absolutely insane that I don't hear any prime minister or president or whatever talking about a better vitamin intake and healthier living, so that you won't yeah, you're not as likely to get ill in the first place. You know, everyone talks about masks and social distancing and open McDonald's again and Burger King and KFC. And to me personally, if that's what you're eating every day, of course you're gonna get ill. What do you expect? Excuse me, but if you eat unhealthy every day and no one's telling you to change that, yeah, you're gonna get coronavirus 15 times, mate. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna get every different strain of coronavirus. But I mean, yeah, for me personally, also the way that this virus has come about is also just a simple result of the way that we dealing with this planet and the way that we are yeah, treating each other, etc. So for me personally, this has to be a turning point for people. Like, for example, we all stopped flying, and then I think the emission levels would just, like, everything was turning back to okay. Like, I think like it was like, was it Italy or something, like dolphins started swimming in certain rivers where they hadn't been for like a million years and stuff. And then, oh wow, beautiful, but let's get the planes going again, and let's get this and that. Like, we just wanted things to go back to normal, but if we go back to normal, then COVID-20 will be there in 2 years or 3 years. COVID-21 will be, it's just gonna be an endless cycle of self-destruction, basically. And I don't understand that. I don't get that.
We should be looking at sustainable living, not just for our personal lives, but also for the environment, are you saying?
Yeah, we need to look at the environment. We need to look at how we treat each other. I mean, the claim is, I don't know how this coronavirus really came about, but the claim is that it's all came from some Chinese supermarket where people eat all kinds of mad food. I'm sorry, but if the gap between rich and poor wasn't that large, I don't think we would have, people would be eating octopus legs and stuff for what? For like, or bats or all these kind of mad animals. Like, for what? Sorry, like,
yeah, the origins of all of this is a whole other debate.
Nobody really knows, in it. But for me, personally, it's just, we need to look at shaping a different global society completely, like, because this is gonna happen again. This is. Do you think this is gonna be the last virus? No, of course it's not. Of course
Thank you. Idek, what do you think should be done that's not being done to address the issues that we discussed today?
Ooh, what should be done? I think what we're doing right now is a great example of what should be done. We should be talking about it, voicing our opinions and getting it out to the public and see who agrees with it, and then they will voice their opinions too, and then eventually the government will see it, and then change will happen. It's just like when all those Black Lives Matter things were happening back in March. If no one started making a whole big thing of it, and like, even though I know it was a thing, Black Lives Matter has been around, but if it blew up last year because everyone started talking about it and voicing their opinions, and then the government's heard about it, and then things just go quicker. And if we just, I don't know, it's more people need to talk more and like be more angry, because otherwise, like Marianne said, this corona is not going to leave. It's just going to keep on. Because we thought it would be gone by
by yesterday.
June 2020.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. Margarita, what do you think we should be done that is not being done right now to address the issues that we discussed today?
Boris Johnson should stick to what he says and stop opening, open, closing, open, closing. What is he doing? Just needs to stick and let the world heal, and then hopefully we should be back to normal. Hopefully.
Thank you. And Luana, what should be done that hasn't been done yet to address these issues that we discussed today?
I feel like, I was going to say, it kind of starts at home. Kind of talking about these issues, like we said, like mental health. If it's not at home, talk to someone else nearby, that's close to you, type of thing. And for like, I feel like it's important, let's start to learn from each other, kind of understand the world that we live in, because my mom likes to say this is the new normal, so we've kind of got to get used to it and see how can we learn from each other, how can we make change possible, because we can all complain, stay in our houses and just do absolutely nothing, but if we're taking action, we will see change, but we have to be productive about it. I feel like it's important that we start talking, joining communities. It's not just, oh, let's just join as the Angolan community. Let's invite someone else into these talks and see what they say, and kind of just start talking about it. And hopefully the word would get out, and the government will start listening to our issues and kind of not disregarding us and be like, oh yeah, they're just talking about it. I feel like it's important to kind of get a ripple effect to go on and to see change, because nothing's going to change if we just complain and moan and say, oh, the cases are rising. Yes. I'm tired of this. I want to go on holiday, but I can't go on holiday. Why are people going to Dubai and I can't go to Dubai? Like, it's not complaining. It's actually start to do something with what we have. So if it's with your laptop, I don't know, do something, start something, and then we'll just carry on.
Thank you. So today it was our community conversation, and other communities in Nottingham have also been speaking and raising their voices to let everyone know about the concerns and challenges that we're facing. So today we are actually already helping our community by just talking to each other and letting each other know and everyone else about the issues. So if you have any questions or things, just put it on in the comment section and you can let us know what issues you find in your community. But just to close our conversation today, what are you going to do forward? So what are something that you're going to do differently, and now that we've had this discussion, to help our community to kind of combat the challenges that we face in our community? So I'll start off with Marijn.
What am I going to do differently?
Yeah, or more.
More?
Yes.
Make myself available for literally for anyone, you know, like just make yourself available as a person that someone can come to, talk to, get support from in whatever way I or whichever individual can provide it, and just be there for one another in these times, like obviously, it's a crazy time, and not just pandemic, but politically we see a lot of people against each other, and I think more than ever, be kind to each other, help each other, and end of the day, we're all walking on the same like round planet, in it. So obviously, we're stuck here with each other. So no one's going to Mars as yet. So
nope. No time soon.
Be kind to each other. That's all. That's my only message really. Just be kind and spread love. That's it.
Thank you. What about you, Luana? What are you going to be doing differently, or continue to do to help our community address these issues?
I feel like I'll say like joining these conversations, kind of not shying away and thinking, oh, this is just another topic that they're talking about, because I tend to do that, kind of tend to scroll on social media and you see people actually talking about these issues. I kind of just shrug a shoulder, or not always needing someone to be like, join the conversation, just kind of be proactive about it. And also, I feel like talking more. I feel like we're so isolated type of thing. So it's actually talking. Just saying a hi will probably make someone's day. So I feel like it's kind of the small steps. It's like I can only do so much, let's be honest. I am in university, so I've got to prioritize. But it's actually just doing the small things and seeing where that can lead. And I feel like after the small steps, it kind of have a little ripple effect. And people will be like, oh, she's just doing that, so let me see if I can do it. And it's just kind of, a domino effect.
Yes, thank you, Luana. Margarida.
Just be there for each other and support each other. I think that's the main thing. And support whoever is in need, basically.
Thank you. Anidek.
Same thing. I'm gonna support anyone who needs my support, or like reach out to people, because sometimes people don't reach out, and maybe I'll start reaching out to people too if I need help. Or
Yes, thank you. I just want to thank you for joining today. And for myself, what I'm going to do as a person, or try to do more, is to be more involved with our community. And when there's other organizations who want to help us, to work with them, like Nottingham Equal, they're trying to make a difference, and just being part of different projects to kind of put the word out there and raise our voices. And hopefully this won't be the last time we have a conversation together. Obviously this one will be recorded, but hopefully in the future we can continue to have these conversations, and one day we'll have our own muscles back and be together again and eat our food and music. But in the meantime, I think it's important to still support each other online, because that's the most that we can do. But thank you so much for joining today.